Video games are littered with items. Sometimes they're useful and sometimes they're useless, but typically it's pretty easy to distinguish which is which. Sometimes though, the difference isn't as obvious as comparing the stats or looking at the in-game description. In some cases, what seems like an ordinary and easily missable item can secretly turn out to have a way bigger role in the game than you would have expected. For this reason, you wouldn't want to miss out on any of the items we've got on this list. I'm Jess from WhatCulture, and here are 10 missable video game items that are secretly crucial. Number 10. Euclid's Seafinder, Fallout New Vegas. Euclid's Seafinder is a handheld rangefinder from Fallout New Vegas that allows you to control a huge orbit laser, which is capable of blowing up entire armies of enemies. Although the Seafinder comes with its own side mission and plays an important role in the subplot considering the NCRs and the Legion's fight over the Helios 1 power plant, when you first play New Vegas, you're almost guaranteed to ignore it when you see it. That's because the relevance of the weapon is only revealed when you progress through the Helios 1 storyline. Until then, it's just a prop used by one of the children playing in Freeside. This little twist is honestly one of the most brilliant aha moments in New Vegas. It's almost as unlikely as your character surviving a blow to the head, but that's exactly what makes it so special. There's just something inherently entertaining about discovering that the key to Helios 1's secret weapon was in the hands of a random and slightly annoying child the entire time. Number 9. Bath Bag, Leisure Suit Larry 2, Looking for Love in Several Wrong Places. Leisure Suit Larry is among the classic Sierra point-and-click games, but this series is about a sleazy guy looking for love. To do so, he has to rely on all sorts of weird and bizarre items he finds along the way, some of which are less conspicuous than others, though certainly not less important for it. In fact, in Leisure Suit Larry 2, you may not even be able to complete the game unless you grab a seemingly unimportant item in the intro. During the airplane section of the game, Larry needs to grab an airsick paper bag, which at the time doesn't seem to have any uses or relevance to his goal at hand, the goal being jumping out of the plane. However, if you decide to ignore the bag, you'll learn the hard way that you won't be able to progress through the story later down the line. The bag doesn't have any uses on the plane, but you need it to break the elevator towards the end of the game, so missing it will cost you a ton of progress, as in pretty much all your progress. Besides, given how unlucky Larry is, he probably should always keep a bath bag handy, just in case. Number 8. The Black Grimoire, Dragon Age Origins. Dragon Age Origins comes with a feature that allows you to give your companions gifts in order to improve your relationship with them, just like in real life. The vast majority of these gifts don't play any important role. Even the unique companion gifts only tend to allow you an additional interaction or two with your companion of choice. That is, except for the Black Grimoire. The Black Grimoire is a special plot gift that secretly allows you to complete a side quest for Morrigan. The Grimoire is stashed inside the Archmage's quarters inside the Mage's Tower, making it really easy to miss. When you pick it up, your character will remark that Morrigan might be interested in it, which you might disregard as the game telling you it's a unique gift for Morrigan specifically. In reality though, the Grimoire triggers a secret side mission where Morrigan discovers her mother's secret to immortality and asks you to kill her for her. This leads to what is arguably the hardest fight in the game, so if you don't want to miss out on that challenge, you really should look into supplying your grumpy witch with her desired choice of literature. Number 7. Jar of Green Acid, Space Quest 4, Roger Wilco and the Time Rippers. Space Quest 4 is another Sierra game that follows the studio's ancient tradition of soft-locking the player with crucial items hiding inside the early stages of the game. What makes this entry especially frustrating is that the item can cost you your entire playthrough. And not just that, the item is a jar of slime. Yes, whether you manage to finish the game or not is pretty much dependent on your character hauling a jar full of slime in their inventory for most of the story. The reason why this item is easily easily missable is because it's a bit hard to find the use for the jar itself. When you enter the sewers where the jarrable slime attacks you, there's no indicator that you're supposed to suck it into the glass container. It's much easier to just run away, but doing so will cost you greatly in the long run, as the slime is used to defeat the final boss of the game. Of course, you can't really know this when you're face to face with the slime with nothing but a jar in your inventory, but then again, this sort of trial and error is what used to make these Sierra games so special. Number 6, Dawnmaster's Crest, Baldur's Gate 3. The Dawnmaster's Crest is a small emblem found in the Mountain Pass section of Baldur's Gate 3. To get it, you have to solve a series of puzzles inside the ruined monastery, and it's secretly one of the most important items you'll find in this location. The crest is a secret key to obtaining the legendary mace called the Blood of Lathander. Well, it's a key to getting it safely. I got it the other way, where I had to fight everybody in the room. But hey, results are results. But let's talk about the crest. You can find and grab the weapon without the crest, but doing so triggers a safety mechanism that detonates the entire monastery, possibly wiping out your entire team if they don't make it outside in time. If you find the crest though and insert it into the contraption holding the Blood of Lathander, you're able to deactivate it, allowing you to leave the monastery in one piece. If you don't fancy yourself facing up against the challenge of an incredibly time-limited and difficult fight, lest you end up with a tan from the concentrated power of the sun, you probably want to keep the crest handy. Number 5, Old Witch Ring, Dark Souls. The Dark Souls series is certainly not known for telling you what the items you pick up do. The best example of this is one of the starting gifts in Dark Souls 1, which, despite its barren description, is secretly tied to a major gameplay mechanic. Unlike most of the other starting items that tell you what they do in their description, the Old Witch Ring tells you nothing but a vague line about its appearance that literally states it has no obvious effect. Of course, the fact that the game calls it useless might only pique your interest, but when you play it, the other items find their functionality relatively fast, whereas the ring appears to in fact do nothing pretty much the entire way through. In reality though, the ring's purpose is to allow you to communicate with Quelaag's sister once you join her secret covenant. Conversing with her gives you insight into the past of the Daughters of Chaos, unveiling secret bits of lore that you wouldn't be able to obtain otherwise. The ring is absolutely crucial for those who wanted to learn a little bit more, if not everything they can, about the world they keep repeatedly dying in. But that said, you don't have to pick the ring up from the start. It's also obtainable via trading with Snuggly. Number 4, Dragonstone, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. The Dragonstone is an ancient slab from the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim that, despite being found in the course of a minor side quest, is actually what jumpstarts the entire main storyline of the game. Most Skyrim players begin their adventure by visiting Lucan Valerius's shop and starting a quest in which you recover his stolen golden claw. After you find the claw, the game asks you to explore more of the dungeon, where you eventually find the Dragonstone. Eventually, as you progress through the main story, Whiterun's court wizard Farengar will tell you to bring him the stone, as it contains the map of all the dragon burials in Skyrim. Without the stone, you can't progress through the story, so be sure to grab it when you have the chance to avoid needless backtracking. Moreover, if you want to get some insider info, you can actually check the slab's engravings to learn the dragon burials' locations before Delphine reveals them to you. And just like that, look at you, you're 2 steps ahead of the game. Number 3, Kelloggs Brain Bits, Fallout 4. Kellogg is one of the primary antagonists of Fallout 4, who finds his end in an epic battle with the sole survivor. And if you want to reach the end of the story, what you have to find after the aforementioned battle is Kellogg's brain bits, scattered all over the floor. When you defeat Kellogg, there are a number of interesting things you can find on his body. These include his unique outfit and weapon, which most players grab right away, and the cybernetic enhancements attached to his brain, which appear to be more of a decorative lucrative miscellaneous item. Despite their apparent lack of use, you'll want to grab Kellogg's Brain augments right away, as they secretly become a key item in the main storyline. You have to take them to Dr. Amari in order to access Kellogg's memories, and then discover the location of the Institute. Meaning, if you opted out of grabbing them, worrying about them cluttering your inventory with seemingly needless crap, you will have to backtrack to his secret lair and fiddle with his brain matter one more time. The augments don't actually weigh anything, so grabbing them right away is definitely the smartest option. And let's be honest, a dead man's brain is not even kind of the weirdest thing an average Fallout player keeps in their inventory, so you may as well. Number 2, Magical Ribbon, The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 is an RPG that takes the player's choices pretty darn seriously. There are a lot of moments where a choice of yours can significantly impact the course of the story, and this is true even for the deceptively unimportant things you do, like getting the magic ribbon in the Blood and Wine DLC. The ribbon in question is a side quest item that the player can win in a Gwent match while exploring the fairy tale land that Sayana is trapped in. The game makes it seem like the ribbon doesn't do anything, but when you bring Sayana to Detlef, its use becomes super apparent. Without the ribbon, Detlef will kill Sayana as soon as Geralt delivers her to him. When you win the ribbon for her, however, the girl will suddenly use it to teleport back to the fairy tale world before Detlef can get his revenge on her. The ribbon is actually the only way to save Sayana after you've decided to search for her, which is why, if you don't want Geralt to end up in jail for letting her die, you best bring out your best Gwent deck. Number 1, the Scrolled Journal, Until Dawn. Until Dawn, like most supermassive games, allows you to save all 8 of its playable protagonists. However, in order to do so, you need to find a small hidden item that most people would easily miss. This particular circumstance and example is definitely one of those arguments for why some games are just better played with a guide. The item in question is the Scrolled Journal, which you can find in the Mines section of the game. It's the final clue in the mystery in the Twins clue line that explains what happened to the 2 sisters that die in the beginning of the game. Aside from playing part in a greater mystery, the journal has another secret functionality in that finding it determines whether Josh survives the events of the night. If you find the journal, the Wendigo will recognize him and spare him, whereas if you miss it, he'll be killed on the spot. For this reason, if you want to save Josh, keep your eyes peeled for the journal in the mines. That being said though, be warned that keeping Josh alive isn't necessarily the best fate for him, as it does end up with him turning into a Wendigo himself.